I was just watching your recent video from Hawaii.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, one of the ones on like you were eating a cherry and talking about natural wash anaerobic.
Yeah, did you do like the little joke at the end about the
Oh, I got it.
aerobic? Okay.
Yeah, pretty good.
My dad told me he saw that video and it went over his head, I guess.
Yeah, I'll make sure we share it. How are you? How's your espresso martini?
Uh,
Survived?
it did not survive. I have a new one. Yeah, it
Okay.
was kind of fun setting this up, having it in the evening instead of in the morning. Do you have a cup of decaf there?
I got a cup of decaf from Water Avenue Coffee here in town. They're kind of a big, they do a lot of wholesale too, but also grocery store brand and local brand. And
Water
I
Avenue
never
actually, Water Avenue saved my butt one day.
really, why is that?
You were there at the Roast Summit in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Roastar had sponsored like the packaging station and the bags, and we had everything set up except as we were there and there were people roasting coffee and it was getting started, I realized that we did not have like any way to scoop the coffee from the buckets
Oh,
into the
right.
bags. So I looked on I like kind of remembered where we were, and I realized Water Avenue was like maybe a block and a half away, and I had been there I think twice before already. So I just walked over and knocked on the door. I was like, "Hi, I'm Nick. We make your coffee bags. Can I borrow a scoop, like the iconic black scoop that
Yeah.
everybody knows and uses?" And they lent me one.
I wasn't even thinking about that. So they have a bag that they just put out for like local trail keepers, like a nonprofit that they donate to for the coffee that I bought. I bought it because of the bag. I'm going to find it and post it somewhere. But like, it was just such a beautifully like illustrated bag. And a lot of their bags are kind of plain, intentionally so, like crisp and clean and white. But this one has this kind of nature illustration on it. And I was like, even if I don't like this coffee, I'm going to put this on my shelf and just like keep it all the time. I wonder if it's up here actually. Oh, it is. Hang on. Yeah, so it's this one.
Oh yeah,
It's like
that's
super
gorgeous.
cool. Yeah, and it's like wraps all the way around, like the sides and everything. But yeah, it was just such a cool bag on the shelf that I was like, I'll give it a shot. It's like how I buy wine too. Got a cool label. Yeah, I'll buy that. We'll check it out.
Oh, I 100% buy wine based on how it looks.
Yeah. Nobody really knows what wine is supposed to taste like. I don't even think winemakers know.
Have you seen the recent like? I've seen a couple of videos recently of people pointing it out, but like the Dawn dish soap on the grocery shelves, all the different types that they have,
Mm.
it's pretty crazy actually. They have like Dawn Power Wash, Dawn Platinum Power Wash, Dawn Platinum Plus Power Wash, Dawn Platinum Plus Grease Fighting Power Wash. Like there are legitimately like 15 different types of Dawn dish soap that all, as far as I know, do the same thing. Like if you squirt them in your hand, you're not going to be able to tell a difference.
No,
It's just kind of poking fun at the absurd number of SKUs they have.
there's just so much stuff in general. I basically haven't been on social media since World of Coffee in April. It wasn't like necessarily intentional, but it just isn't a priority for me, like in my personal life. And even for work, it's becoming less and less valuable. And then I've just been so busy. I mean, it's been a nonstop summer for me. And I know you've had like a lot going on. I mentioned Hawaii because I want to know. I mean, we haven't talked since April either, really. Like, not like this anyway. Like, why did you get to go to Hawaii for work? Very not fair, also. And I mean, what was that? Was that your first time?
That was my first time. Yeah, it was really cool. It was definitely special to get to go somewhere that like I might choose to go myself
Yeah.
for a work trip. You know, I spent many nights in hotels like overlooking Denny's parking lots. So this was a cool one to get to go on. But no, it came down to, I mean, the Hawaii Coffee Association was having their annual conference,
Mm-hmm.
and we had heard good things from other people that attended last year, that it's such a group of coffee people that really are dedicated and like doing it and have businesses out there. Um, but it's so removed from a lot of things. Like it's such a hassle for them to come attend like any event that we usually would be at. So we went to them, and it was cool. The kind of like the usual way it goes when we talk to someone at like a conference. They typically know who Roastar is. We're pretty well known, and either they do or do not buy bags from us. But being in Hawaii, it was cool. So many of the people that could be customers had never heard of us before. So
Mm.
that was kind of new. Like the average person we talked to had no idea who we were, which was unusual and really cool.
When I was there, not this last Christmas, but the one before with my family, all of our first times in Hawaii, I found this little cart, essentially like an old, like vintage RV style coffee called White Nene coffee, which is like named after a bird. That was so simple and good. And I made an effort to go there like 3 or 4 times. And it was just like, oh, like they've kind of developed their own organic vibe. And yes, they have this specialty influence, but because of where they're located, they maybe don't just like travel as often to be influenced by other people. So a lot of their influence is contained. And it was just like, oh, hey, let's just do good coffee and not be pretentious about it. And there was a line like every day of people there. And it was not easy to get to. Like it was just on the side of the road in this little 1 block town. And just really impressed. And then the other thing that like threw me when we were there, not threw me, but I don't think I understood was how small some of the coffee farms are. Like there's 600 of them on or whatever or more on some of the islands, and like we went to a couple, but they'd be like 6 acres or 2 acres. And in my head, that sounds big, but then when you're actually on it and thinking about farming, it's like not that big. And they're all doing this thing, but also like then combining their efforts and representing. That's why like those farmer coalitions I think are so important, because that'd be like me saying, "Oh, I've got a 1/4 acre. Like what I grow here is a farm," and it's like, well, it is, but it's really not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool getting to go to. I think I went to 3 or 4 coffee farms.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was pretty small. I think it was a 6 acre farm in total, and a portion of that was coffee. You know, he was growing other things too. This farmer Gary was his name, and he actually calls himself a dirt farmer, and then
Nice.
he just happens to collect the things that grow on top.
That's
The
that's
man was crazy about dirt. It was so cool. He had all this compost set up, like multiple different compost bins, the different types of trees and crops, cacao plants, all this different stuff intermingled with the farm. So much shade cover. Just everything that he did was with the intention of improving the quality of the dirt. It was
I God,
insane.
I wish I had that intelligence. It's such a like I've been planting a lot. If I get a free minute, there's a good chance I'm digging a hole. And the house that we bought, the yard, everything, this whole area used to be like a landfill for dirt and rocks. So when they would develop or build something somewhere else, they'd take all the crappy dirt and rocks that they had gotten and dump it in a pile. And that's where I ended up buying a house. Uh, and so, like, when I'm digging in different parts of the yard, some parts, no problem, dig a hole, easy peasy, nice little dirt. Other parts, I'm basically just on my hands and knees pulling out, rocks about this big that have been like interlocked over the years, like a wooden fence in Ireland, like, and, walking through the hills. And it's just like, and it's just sand and dirt. And so I just was like, you know what? I don't have enough brainwaves to learn enough to make this like the perfect dirt. I'm just going to keep planting things in different parts of the yard and see what grows. Like, what's going to survive? Like, we're going with a quantity. Like, if is that plant 50% off? I'll put it in the ground. Like, let's see how it goes. But I'm very excited. We put in an apple tree and a cherry tree, um, and then a lot of berries, which uh, I'm very excited about because those are all things I can eat. And it's it's like I think maybe turning 40 you get into birds, and then like turning 45 you get really into plants. I don't, planting. I don't know if that's like the actual timeline, but that's where I'm at.
I'm still at the phase of my life where I kill most things that I bring into my house, except animals. But I don't have
Yeah,
any pets right now.
not yet.
Not yet.
Uh, you are in a new place. Have you been able to create new coffee rituals? I think you had kind of like a setup at your old place, so being in a new one.
Yeah, the whole time I had like a month or so in between the two places that I was living, and I had all my things like packed basically in a storage unit. The
Mm,
whole time that I was sitting there waiting to move into my new place, all I could think about was the box in my storage unit that had my coffee grinder and my pour overs and my kettle. I knew exactly where the box was in the storage unit, and I would just picture it sitting there. And it was the first box I carried into my apartment, and I unpacked it before I even brought anything else in. So yes, I was excited to set up my coffee station.
did you set it up the same? Because you had an opportunity to reset your life.
I changed a little bit. The setting matters a lot. So I've got my bar mats down underneath my grinder and kettle, and it's a pretty good setup. This was for this espresso martini was the first time I've made an espresso in my new house, so that was
Okay.
pretty cool. It went smoothly.
I've never made an espresso in my house. Not this one, not any house.
I'm with you.
That's too
Filter
much.
coffee for life.
I
I
do
just
have,
can't afford to get into espresso. Is the thing.
that's part of it too. Like for the amount of money that you will spend to get one good espresso a week, like I can just go down the street and give them $5 or $6 and they'll give me an incredible espresso. Uh, I can go down the street a little further and for $3 get an okay one. And so it's just kind of making, I was like, how many of these could I buy for the cost of buying like a good enough espresso machine to make it worth it at home? Have you ever tried is it the Wakoko, like the
Oh yeah,
Amazon
like
like
the pico
espresso ready
presso.
shake? Yeah, that kind of thing.
I've used one at a trade show before. What I ended up getting is a flare, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's made of plastic. It
The
was
squeeze one.
yeah, it's got like a lever, so you
Mhm.
just kind of pull it down. It's pretty simple. There's
Yeah,
no machine to it. You just have to heat up the basket, and so you still tamp your shot the same way. But then you just fill it up with water and add the piston and press it. So it works really well. It makes pretty good espresso. It's just kind of a pain in the butt to use, and I don't like espresso enough to make it every day. I
yeah.
am a pour over guy, big time.
I've really learned to love espresso, but I love it more when someone else makes it. Uh, I mean, I don't want to say that I can't make a good cup of coffee. I think I'm always questioning whether it's as good as the coffee deserves when I make it myself. When someone else makes it and gives it to me, I have no background on like their, for the most part, I can see maybe yesterday I went and got a pour over and watched them make it. But at home, like I know if I shortcutted it and then if it doesn't taste quite right, or it's like I know I could have done this to make it better and I didn't. And now it's like a thing. So I just try not to worry too much. I've been since moving here. I've been definitely back on the V60, pour over, and I'm doing it in batch, like a 50-gram batch. I got like a big pour over.
I do 20 grams at a time
Yeah,
with my B60.
I can't. I don't have time. I got it. I need to get as much as I can. I put it into my little guy here, and if I'm like doing like if it's a coffee that I really am excited about, then I'll make sure I do a smaller one. Um, but only once so far have I overfilled. So the V60 doesn't quite hold that much coffee
It's
well.
not meant to brew that much coffee, right?
No, but my filters come up over the V60, about yay high. So I just have to not get too exuberant with my pour because it'll hold like maybe a half inch up and out. But just so far once it is not like didn't quite make. I went too aggressive and it went all down the back, and I ended up having to like clean. I bought like a little kitchenette like counter, like a vintage countery thing to put everything on, and then store my coffee stuff underneath. That was like my big present, when we moved in. That and a record player I can't figure out how to get to work. And by that I mean my wife can't figure it out because I haven't tried. She's been doing it all. Can't get the arm to sit just right. But yeah, that was the only thing. And I was like, okay, like I had to pull that out and just clean all behind it and be like, you know what? No one's ever going to see this little stain on the back of our expensive new furniture. But it's exciting. Like I've never lived anywhere that, I felt like it was really mine. Even we bought a house in Red Mountain, where you guys are, close to where you are, 20 years ago. But that was like, I was young and like right out of college and like kind of just like my dad said, you should do this. And my in-laws said, you should do this and resale value. And, like we kind of just followed along because we had no idea what we were doing. But it never felt like that was our house, like this one, like not everything is perfect or the way we want. Actually, almost nothing is done right here, but it's, it's ours. Like I get to pick, I put this paint on the walls. I'm not as happy with it as I thought I would be in the store, but you know what? Like I can change it if I
You
get
can paint
really,
it again.
I could paint it again. I just haven't gotten there yet. Like I put these shelves up, I sanded that wood and picked it out. I went and picked out each board, at the reclaimed thrift wood. And it's just, so it just feels like, I think like making a really good cup of coffee, there's ownership, you just, yes, that roaster roasted the beans, that farmer grew the beans, but you still get a little bit of pride when you make a cup of coffee and everything goes the way you expected it to, and then the flavor comes out the way it can. And I hate to admit it, that's fewer and farther between than I would like at home. Because
For me, I think I'm pretty good, but it does take me probably 5 or 6 pour overs before I feel like I nailed it with a bag of coffee.
and
So
then there's only how many left?
yeah,
You know?
about halfway through a bag is when I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this dialed in. But
Yeah,
then I have 4 different bags of coffee, and I'll switch between them, and then everything goes south.
I've been trying to. So I've been getting my coffee from Prismatic in Salem in like, but I've been getting like a pound and a half to 2 pounds of like each, like one coffee. Uh, Instead of buying the bags or the containers, he's just filling up my storage thing. And that actually has been helpful because it's like committing for like a month to like this coffee. It doesn't quite last a month, but it's like I know that coffee by the time I'm done, and sometimes I can get the same one the next time I'm down. Anything else exciting going on with you guys?
No, just in the coffee world, we're getting ready for Coffee Fest Los Angeles, which is next week, which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy that it's next week already. I'm giving my presentation there again, the coffee bag blueprint that
Mm-hmm.
I did that in Chicago. So that'll be cool to do my second Coffee Fest lecture. And then I'm also on 2 different panels there, which I am not the host of, which will be cool. I've so far at Coffee Fest only really hosted panels, um, which is great. But it can be difficult sometimes, to be the person in like the hot seat when the conversation goes quiet. Then
Yeah, for
when it's
sure.
your turn to talk, or when it's your turn to like wrap somebody up so you can move on to something else. I'm excited to be able to speak only when I have something to say. Just like contribute to the conversation rather than direct it necessarily.
I think the hard part about being the host of a panel in particular is remembering to listen to what's being said and not just be preparing for kind of the next line of questioning, because then you can really like one like interject or like guide it in a different way than you expected. But I've had moments where I was like leading a panel that maybe I wasn't, it wasn't something that was instinctively like my wheelhouse, which is fun because I had to learn a lot for it, but maybe I don't know it as quickly and as fast. And like the person was talking and I was starting to prepare in my head, okay, I need to make sure I ask about these things to make, because you're also on a time constraint. There's a clock ticking, right? It's not just that you have to get it all out. It's like you have like a 45-minute window or like a time constraint to do it in. So I'm watching the clock and I'm thinking about that. And all of a sudden I realized like nobody was talking, but I had gotten lost in like my thought process of like, what's the next thing and what time is it? And like, is this, what do I say? And everyone was just kind of looking at me and I was like, oh, it's my turn now. Like I need to get back into this. And like, it's almost not as fun as being on the panel where you're just having a conversation and like coming up with an idea as someone else says theirs, because you're trying to get through all the things. And also even just you're probably representing someone on the panel, so you want to make sure you're doing that well, and you're trying to make sure that the people who are giving up their time to be on the panel get a chance to say their thing if they have something important. I always try to ask, like, what's like the one thing that you can't not say, so I know ahead of time to make sure we get to it. But that's cool, man. You're like the now with the videos for Roastar and this, like, I can retire. I'm done. You can just take over. And I'll just tell people that I went through like a de-aging process and that I'm actually you now.
I'll just grow a beard. Yeah.
Okay.
Over the next few months, you'll have to start wearing glasses. I'll start growing the beard. We'll make it a smooth transition.
I do wear glasses now, actually. Mostly at night, or for driving, but yeah, I'm definitely back on the glasses train. I realized a couple weeks ago, I was driving home kind of late from work, and I had just gotten these new glasses like that day, and I put them on to drive home, and I was like, oh, I should not have been driving at night before this. Like, this is a very clear delineation for me. Like, what I was doing before was mostly just remembering where I was going. Now I am seeing all of the signs, and so that wasn't. I'm glad that we got everywhere we needed to go.
I took my glasses off to, I think, wipe them or something when I was in the car recently, and I was just looking at the streets and the street signs. It kind of occurred to me that other people have vision that is probably as bad or worse than mine and don't wear glasses.
No.
And that was terrifying to think of based on how bad I could see.
But that's got to be hard, I think, to be getting to a point in your life where like mentally he's still all there, but he just doesn't have some of the physical capabilities he used to. And I feel that now sometimes, like at my age, and like you go, oh, I think I should be able to do this thing. And then you do the thing and maybe you get it done, but afterwards you go, oh, maybe that wasn't a good idea. I need to understand and tone it down a bit. Yeah, been very reflective on that topic this summer. I mentioned that I was coming home from work. Besides the show, I took a job this summer, which we haven't talked about.
Yeah, you mentioned that you took a job as a part-time bartender.
I took a job in our new neighborhood to work one day a week at a local baseball stadium for the Portland Pickles, fairly well known in small town baseball circles. Because I thought, you know what would be a great way to meet a bunch of my neighbors is go to baseball games. I love baseball. It's like my favorite sport. I follow it fairly religiously. And it's right down the street. I could ride my bike. And they were hiring and I was like, you know what? I haven't done that in a long time. It's probably been, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years since I've been behind a bar and actually had to work or serve people in that way. On a regular basis. And so I thought one day a week, that would be great. A little extra money to buy plants for the house. It'd just be fun. And so I did that for one day. I went to a game the next day, like with my family, and it was great. And then the next time I went in to work a game, which was just a day or two later, they said, hey, the person who was the assistant director of food and beverage is gone. Would you like to do that job? And I was like, oh, well, what does it entail? And they're like, well, basically we just like, you keep doing like one day a week doing your bartending. And then the other day you would, be doing some admin and scheduling and that sort of thing, help maybe with orders. I was like, yeah, that's not too bad. And if it'll help the team, like I'm a team player, like let's do this. By the end of the week, I had worked 50 hours. And that was about one of the lightest weeks that I've worked since April. And it was chaos. And so I actually wanted to say this, but like a shout out to like assistant managers. I haven't been an assistant manager in a long time. I think since I was like 16, maybe. I was assistant manager of the Foot Locker at the Wausau Center Mall. I have had some great assistant managers, Pam, Shelby in particular at Iron Pig not too long ago. And they really like make your life easier. And I tried to ask myself a lot in this role. I'm not the one who gets to make all the decisions. Like they had the manager, the assistant or the director has a vision, and the marketing and operations side has a vision. And I'm essentially the person who gets to put it in place and make it work. And thankfully, they've been very like willing to let me be involved and take the lead on things and not just follow all the orders all the time. But it's a different thing to like come home and not know for sure what's happening always the next day because you're not the one making those decisions. So it was a real learning curve. And tomorrow is my last day there. Season's over. We're breaking down all week, which I love doing that too. Just the organization part is gratifying. But what I ended up taking away from this whole thing is that it doesn't really matter the scale. Hospitality is still hospitality. Like, yes, we're selling hot dogs and beer and cocktails and pickles. A lot of pickles. We buy them in 5-gallon buckets. It's insane. Actually, we had one left over, and I gave it to my neighbor. It was like the best day of her life. Yeah, 5 gallons worth of pickles. It's a lot of pickles, and they're like the big ones you'd get at like a Jimmy John's or like at a sub shop, like the huge ones. All of that is technically our job, but it was very clear, like right away, that what our real job is to be there for the fans and provide them with an experience. And I don't know that this team has thought of it that way before, as far as their food and beverage goes. But when you're serving people, you're the people, like our team, we had like 85 employees, I think, maybe a little less at the end of the season. But we had a lot, and they're the ones who the fans are going to, like, they're the ones they're interacting with. They're the ones they're going to remember buying the cotton candy from. And so that was just as important as making sure people were having a good time, was just as important as making sure they got their food and their drink. Like, it's not, coffee shops and restaurants and bars are not just one thing. It's an all encompassing experience. And if you're not comfortable providing that, then you really have to question what it is you're doing. I think there are great coffee shops that are super like, we're here for the coffee. Screw you guys, or like, you can come and like do whatever you want to do, but like, we don't care about you. We're here for this. And that's fine. Like, there's going to be an audience for that too, but most places don't survive that way. And as much as the fans want the team to win, like, they're also there because they get to sing and dance to Twist and Shout in the 9th inning, or take me out to the ball game, or watch somebody do Dizzy Bat or whatever. Like, it's just as much about the experience. And food and beverage people, I think, are a big deal. And it made me really grateful for like, and able to look back at my life and be like, oh, these things that were sometimes people think of as throwaways or throwaway jobs, even like a part-time summer job, really have meaning if the person that's you're interacting with, that's like their special thing. I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Also, I have a lot of baseballs now.
Do they say Portland pickles on them?
Some of them do.
Authentic game used?
Yeah, some of them do. But I thought that, yeah, so shout out to assistant managers. Like, whoever you are out there, that was the point of this. But like, you are doing something that is challenging because you are good enough at your job to get to that kind of second in command level, but you also don't have full control. And that can be challenging for me anyway. But you make it happen, and you make those things work. I felt very emotional. We need to joke or something right here. I'm coming down. It's been a long summer. Like, because I'm also doing the show, and I'm also still interviewing people and like fitting it in on Mondays when we have days off.
So what's next? Are Are you gonna increase the podcast, or are you just gonna sleep for the next 5 months until the season starts again?
I doubt it because I was supposed to take the weekend off, but I couldn't sleep, so I went to the park and watched a baseball game for a different team. Cleaned up a little bit. Uh, I think that's a great question. This year, by early January, maybe by the end of this year, I got to look at the weeks. I'll have completed 20 seasons of the show. That feels like a lot. It's a number I was hoping to get to. I mean, the first year I was hoping to get to 10 episodes. So this is all kind of gravy in that way. But I think 20 seasons is a lot of conversations, and I've had a lot, and I've been really thinking a lot about where the show should go, especially this year. Major advances in technology have made podcasting as an independent more challenging. There's a lot more AI content. People are fatigued online. I am. Like, I think everyone is. So I've already started planning for 2027 for Coffee People, and the extension of that now, Coffee People Are Sexy. And I'm going to do, my plan right now is to really focus on the in-person, really explore the hospitality side of it. I've really I'm leaning that way. And, a lot of things, the more I am able to limit my engagement with the internet. I mean, I think we all know, like, the internet's worse. Like, it's not as much fun as it used to be. Like, it's harder to research things. Search is, terrible. Google is getting rid of their search for just AI. And so that's made things somewhat challenging, as I'm not fully embracing AI in my life. And, but I think what people really are doing is finding ways to interact, with real people in real life more so. And even younger generations, like, the audience for this show is getting younger, which is cool. Like, they're getting into coffee and wanting that and wanting to do things in real life too. Like, there's a reason why books are selling at a higher rate now than they were 10 years ago, and records and, film cameras and all that stuff, because people are looking for ways to do things in the world, and those things kind of force you to engage and interact, which is, I think, a good thing, as much as I used to think I just wanted to move into the woods. So to answer your question, we're going to take Coffee People on the road again. We did the free coffee tour last year, and this coming year I have a 10-city tour planned in the spring, culminating with our first booth at World of Coffee. I've been like at booths with you guys, and I've been there as like a media person, and I've been there doing other things. But this year we have like a booth, 3349, I think, on the map. And, we'll have our own setup, and we're going to take a couple weeks to get there and stop at cities like Boise and Grand Junction, Colorado, and Lafayette, Louisiana, and Oklahoma City. Places that we don't always get to, and try to do live shows with giveaways, like a concert tour. And, maybe the Pickles will want me to come back, and I could do that in the summer. But for now, like, my plan is in real life Coffee People, and just learning more about what's out there, and seeing what other stories haven't been told on the show yet. And I think that in-person thing really is more interesting, because there's this whole, right now it's me and you talking, like every show is just me and someone else, right? But in person there's an audience too, and they become part of it, and then they get to ask questions, and sometimes you react to their reactions. And if you see someone who's like really engaged in a particular topic, maybe you pursue that even further instead of move on. And so I think that's really what it is. What I need from you and from everyone is I need to know what I should call the tour, because there's going to be tour merch, shirts, hats, koozies. Is it the Coffee People IRL tour? Is it the Coffee People Are Sexy tour? Is it the Ryan doesn't want to get a real job again tour? Like, what do we call this thing where we're driving around? And then the hope is that the spring one goes well, and in the fall we do another one that hits up Roast Summit and Coffee Fest Los Angeles or some of the other ones.
I think of a name. Coffee People Parts Unknown through an Anthony Bourdain twist.
Ooh, I would feel kind of guilty jumping on his thing, although he probably wouldn't care that much. There's a new movie about him coming out.
Yeah, it came out I think on Saturday.
Oh, it's out?
Yeah.
I haven't seen a movie. What was the last movie you saw in the theater?
I'm not sure. I've been to. I'm not sure because I've gone to quite a few this year.
Oh,
Actually.
okay.
Yeah, there was like a 3-year span where
Otherwise.
I just didn't feel like going to movies in theaters.
Mm.
Just was never something I wanted to do. And all of a sudden, in the past like year or so, I've gone to quite a few. So I actually don't know because there might be too many.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go the other way with that. I think the last movie I saw in a theater was the Emma Watson Beauty and the Beast, which was a while ago.
That was a couple of years, wasn't it?
It was pre-COVID for sure, but I'm not sure how long pre-COVID. It's on the West Coast, like the air quality hasn't been great lately because of smoke, and we finally got some of that here this last week, and there were a lot of people out wearing masks, and it was kind of like like I wore a mask during COVID longer than most, but like to see large groups of people out wearing masks was kind of surreal. Like little, what's the word? Triggering, little PTSD. Like, oh shit! Like,
yeah, we had wildfire smoke here from Canada a couple of weeks ago, and I was camping in Door County. And the AQI was 500. It was as high as the Apple scale goes on like Apple weather. It's at 500, which I actually looked up. They kind of calculated like an equivalent of AQI levels to the number of cigarettes that you smoke per day.
oh, okay.
And I think I saw it was something like it was like the 500 AQI exposure for 24 hours was equal to about 25 cigarettes smoked in like a 24-hour period.
So like less than you would normally.
Yeah, a couple less. Yeah.
I mean,
I was to camp outside for 2 nights, which was wild. And then I went and I did some work in a coffee shop that was open air. Like they had the doors open and the windows open. Probably not the wisest.
it's a tough one because you go, well, what is like how are we going to continue living life? This is a real thing that you need to be careful of. We had a baseball game, and if the air quality number got over like 180, they were going to cancel the game, and we got to like 179. But it was like notable. Like I had a headache and my eyes were scratchy at the end of the day, but I was still outside. The first day I wore a mask, and the second day I didn't because it felt a little better. But there's these, it's all like a matter of like, okay, is it more important to like, is this going to be something that, how long does this affect me? Like, does it actually make me sick? There's just so many little things that you don't think about, or I never thought about as a kid. Like I never would have thought like, oh, you're going to be worried about air quality someday. And what are the things in your life that you prioritize, even if maybe they're not always the best for you? Like, yeah. So to answer your question, the rest of the year we're planning for 2027, and we're gonna do 2 more seasons of shows, which I'm really excited about. You mentioned Airship Coffee, so I'm gonna reach out to them. I think I got that right. And yeah, maybe design some new coffee packaging. I'm working on something with Bryant. Just kind of got delayed a little bit, as things always do when they're side projects. How about you? I mean, you guys have Los Angeles coming up. Are you doing Roast Summit here in Portland?
Yep. I'll be at Roast Summit in Portland. And then there's Coffee Fest Dallas also to round out the kind of trade show season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be giving my coffee packaging presentation at all of them, which will be
cool.
Well, not at the Roast Summit, at all of the Coffee Fests, which will be very cool.
Nice. I think it'll be a good year, a good way to end the year. It just feels like I've packed a lot in, and I know that you've been traveling like crazy. So I'm going to close this out today by saying, here's a thought. Why don't you come on the road with Coffee People next spring? Roastar, Coffee People, tour combined. One tour. These are all cities you should be going to anyways. You know? Haven't you ever wanted to spend like the spring in Boise?
I have.
I have too.
Well, we'll intercept you in New Orleans.
Okay.